Somebody lands on your site and they're like, wow, a robot for sure wrote this,
Mhm.
you're going to lose them.
Especially if your audience is people that use ChatGPT.
Welcome to Duo on Air, where we help you get seen, remembered, and wildly obsessed over by your audience. We're your hosts, Abby
And Courtney, a pair of ex-agency besties who ditched the cubicles, the Minneapolis skyways, and the corporate jargon for work that matters, with people who inspire us every day. Today, we're a women-powered marketing agency serving brands worldwide, bringing those big agency results without the corporate price tag.
Around here, it's all about what actually grows your business: branding, SEO, websites, and navigating the real-life ups and downs of building a dream while raising tiny humans. We're moms, wives, and best friend business partners in the trenches with you, making the hard stuff feel easy and a whole lot more fun.
So pour a fresh cup, get comfy, because you're exactly where you need to be.
Let's duo this.
Welcome back to the Duo on Air podcast. This is episode number 221, and we want you to visualize something with us. Close your eyes, or maybe don't if you're driving. Be safe. But picture this. If someone finds you, maybe they find you through a referral, maybe through Google, maybe they saw you on Instagram, and they are looking for someone who does exactly what it is that you do. So they go to your website and then they leave. And it's not because you're not good enough or your pricing didn't align, but it's probably because your website gave them a reason that they want to keep shopping elsewhere. And that's the heartbreaking thing about having just a good enough website. So, we're going to talk about the websites that look fine on the surface, but they might be quietly costing you these leads and these sales every week. And this is another thing, just sending traffic to your website just isn't enough. Like
Mhm.
there needs to be more that's happening once you get people there. So, this is called that good enough theory, and while you might think that it means that your website is ugly or broken, it actually means that your website exists. It might be on a level of beautiful. Is that okay to say?
Eh, Yeah,
Everything's
yeah.
beautiful.
Is
You
it
know,
though?
is it? Yeah. It loads, but maybe nothing more. So let's talk about this.
So, yeah, it was really interesting when I was kind of researching a little bit of this good enough theory. And it's a trap that some of us can actually, like even the best entrepreneurs can kind of get stuck on. So, we're going to answer a few of the reasons why this does happen. So, the good enough trap typically happens when small business owners stop improving their website once it's live. Building websites is a lot of work, whether you do it or whether you have an agency do it. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of time that goes into it. But let's say you're a beginner or you don't quite have the funds to have an outsider help you build your website. You build it, you get it done. And once it's done, you're like, good, it's done, it's live, it's doing its thing, it's working. But that's not necessarily true because you're not continuing to improve on your website. You're not adding new content. You're not going back and reevaluating the pages that you have or reading it as quote unquote a stranger that might land on your page. So that's one of the reasons is like when we get it out there and get it live, we're kind of like, hey, it's done. We don't have to do anything more because it's done. It's live. It should be doing its thing, right? And then the other is kind of the relief of a launch really causes that stagnation. So you're kind of like, I'm tired. It's out there. I'm done. Like it's good enough, whatever. And then if you do find something that needs fixing, or you forgot that it was there or it wasn't there, you kind of fall into that mindset of like, I'll fix it later, or okay, I'll add that to my to-do list. It falls way down on your to-do list. We get this. Your business and your brand usually probably comes last because you're focusing on driving customers, driving your audience, and trying to get inquiries and trying to get leads, right? So your brand kind of falls to the wayside, but it kind of falls into this, okay, yes, I know I need to fix it, but I don't have time to fix it now. I'll fix it later. And later becomes 6 months, a
And it's
year,
not even
five
like
years.
fixing. It's sometimes just so we specialize in building big websites for clients.
Hmm.
And sometimes they're so big that even though we do offer, 8 custom pages, it's that we still create one of those pages as a template so that they can repurpose it, reuse it, duplicate it for case studies
Hmm.
or travel guides or portfolios, like whatever it may be. So creating those, you're going through this hustle of launching your website and then you need a break, right? Because you
Hmm.
just like maybe you're the one writing the copy, or maybe just providing the feedback on all the pages felt like a lot. Like maybe you just mentally need a break. So then we take a break and we don't quite realize that 6 months has gone by
Mhm.
and we haven't used that template and duplicated it and created new content on our website. And if we haven't done that, then our website is just like all of a sudden starting to fall behind.
Mhm.
So I think even after launch, you just have to make that mental note of, okay, I have this plan to grow my website by adding these pages and give yourself a deadline to do so
Mhm.
that you don't fall into this trap.
And give yourself, we've talked about this plenty of times, but like dedicated website working days. Like it's
Mhm.
really hard to say, like, you can set yourself a deadline, but if you don't set a time on your actual calendar to set aside that time and actually do it, then that's where you're going to, again, it's just going to fall further and further down the to-do list, or like, okay, I had it on the calendar for this date, but I can't make it, so I'm going to shift it to another date. You really need to like set aside a full day to really just like dedicate to that. And we've talked about this in the past, but it's also like you need to get out of kind of your, I don't know if I want to say comfort zone, but if you work at home, let's say every day, that's like typically your routine, get out of your home. Like go to a coffee shop, go to a friend's house, go to a co-working space and like get out of your norm, because our norm sometimes means checking the laundry or taking the
Mhm.
dog for a walk. So that's going to break that concentration. And you really want to focus that one day fully on your website and updating that content.
Yeah. So that's episode 157. If you want to go back and take a look, we kind of talk about our own website working days, and they're really fun. We love
Mhm.
them.
They're so fun. They're like one of our favorite days.
Yeah. So let's do a quick little gut check on kind of whether you're in this position. So your website really should be working for you 24/7 with or without you. It should be working while you sleep. It should be working while you grocery shop, working while you make dinner. Like everyone talking about this, like your business, and like, bring in sales while you sleep. Like I think your website is number one thing.
Mhm.
Everyone thinks the answer to that is your like create a course, right? But
Mhm.
how is that gonna do anything for you if your website isn't already doing the selling that you
Right.
need it to do?
Exactly. And I think we often forget that our website is working for us 24/7.
Mhm.
I don't think about it. Like
It's
even
your
for ourselves.
salesperson.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you forget
yeah,
that your salesperson is always on and that is your website.
mhm, yeah. So, here's some quick questions to ask yourself and just give yourself a quick little gut check on where you're sitting. So, first, when's the last time you actually looked at your website like a stranger?
And this is kind of a hard question because it's really, we're going to talk about this later too. It's really hard to look at your website as a stranger because you know all the things, right? You're like, I know all the things.
Mhm.
So it's, how can I look at it
Yeah.
as a stranger? So ask a stranger, right?
Yeah.
And not a stranger, not like, don't go up to somebody random on the street, right?
Your website
Um,
coffee working days, go to a coffee
right.
shop, just sit down next to some random person,
And be
pull up
like,
your website.
hey, what do you
If
think?
you're brave enough, please do that.
Please, that, and also if you do, please tell us
Yeah.
because I want to know how that went.
Yeah.
But ask a friend. Ask a friend that might not be very close to your business. Ask a family member that might not be very close to your business, or like my mom. I don't know if I'd ever ask my mom, bless her heart, but like I don't think she truly knows what I do. I
Maybe
think
do in the
she.
realm of someone who could potentially be a client.
Right. Yes. Yes. Maybe not your mom or your aunt Cindy or something, but find that, quote unquote stranger and maybe ask them. Because again, it's sometimes hard for us to look at it through the lens of a stranger.
Mhm.
So the second one, this one actually really like made me think. If a dream client landed on your homepage today, would you be proud? Like if your dream client, like your list of big dream clients or who you want to work for, if they landed on your homepage, would you be proud? Would you feel really proud and excited and like, yes, I have the best homepage out there. And if my dream client lands on it, they're going to see that, they're going to feel it, and they are going to go with us.
How would you feel?
Whew. Right now, I'd feel fairly confident. I would say
Uh,
like maybe 80%
I
confident.
think, yeah. And I think there's a difference between like we get bored, I think, of like certain things within our brand and within our website.
We
So
do.
it's like
We're a little
almost,
squirrely.
yeah, it's like, are you bored or is it actually representing what you do? And I
Mhm.
think there are so many things on the horizon that we want to change of our own website.
Mhm.
So sometimes I feel like that can that makes me feel like, no, we need to update it right now.
I know. Well, trust me, I want to update it right now all the time.
I know, I know, but that's where you just got to break it out, and we'll talk about that later. But
Mhm.
And then the other thing is, do you cringe even slightly when you send someone your URL?
That I actually don't.
No, I don't either. Like, I think you should feel proud to share your
Mhm.
URL, like, or you shouldn't even
You
think about it.
if the thought crosses your mind whatsoever,
Mhm.
there's some hesitancy there,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit of you that maybe doesn't wanna send it.
Yeah.
I have never felt that way, since our rebrand, maybe before then. But when I go back and I look at our one pager versus where we shifted, like, kind of the second round versus now, I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
really glad we are where we are now." Like, we've
Yeah.
evolved, right? And our
Mhm.
brand has grown.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, does your website still represent who you are as a business? So people evolve. Like I just said, people evolve, people change, offers change. Your confidence has most likely grown if you're further into your business than when you first started. So asking yourself, like, does your site still reflect that? Because the gap between who I am now and who my website says I am is really a conversion killer. So just asking yourself if your website currently represents who you are as a business.
So let's talk about more of those conversion killers and maybe where your website might be losing people. So we have four different things here that kind of rise to the top when we are looking at websites of our own, clients who are coming in and asking what they might need. And so here's just some of the biggest things that we see. So number one is your homepage explains what you do, but not why it matters. So a lot of homepages are written for the business owner and not at the lens of the audience.
Hmm.
So you really need to run that test of if you are a stranger, what are they going to be able to capture what it is that you do in 5 seconds? And the question is, can you even articulate what it is that you do
Hmm.
in 5
Because
seconds?
again, sometimes you get so uber focused on what it is that you do and you start to like we're really keen on like not using jargony words, but even what we came from the corporate agency world, right? So we've heard a lot of jargon.
Mhm.
But even some of the words that we use might be jargon to our audience, even if we think we've really stripped it down and it's not jargon
Mhm.
anymore. I can't remember the example. I was talking to a client the other day and I said something and they they paused me and they were like, "Wait, what does that mean?" And I had to explain to them what it meant. And to me it was so very obvious. And again, it wasn't anything like big, robust. I was talking about the branding process and something within it. And they're like, "Wait, I need to stop you. What does that mean?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then I told them what it means. I cannot think of if I think of it, I'll bring it back.
I've
But
done this before. I've put EOD in an email,
mhm.
which is end of day, but I sent that off without even thinking about it because it's just like ingrained in the 10 plus agency years of experience that we
Yes.
had.
Yeah.
And they responded and they go, "What's EOD mean?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that." I was like, "End of day. I'm so sorry."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like some stuff is
It's ingrained
just,
in you
yeah.
and you just assume because you know it, somebody else knows it, but
Mhm.
that's not
Yeah.
necessarily
So it can
the
be like
case. Yeah.
corporate jargon, it can be industry jargon,
Yes.
it can be I think most people don't want to confuse their clients or
Mhm.
confuse the people that they're working with. They want to make sure that you feel like not
Comfortable,
yeah,
confident.
yeah, comfortable is a good word for it rather than confusion because confusion leads to people purchasing without actually realizing what you're going to do for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah. And then leak number 2. So a service page that's going to list features but no actual transformation.
This is
Yeah.
huge.
So this is what like as I read through these two, I think a lot of people if you are really like obviously I think if you're here you are thinking of SEO. These are really prominent things people tell you to do from an SEO perspective. So, like making sure your homepage describes what it is that you do. You need to have that because if you don't actually say you are a therapist or you are a photographer or you are a marketing agency, if you don't say those words, ChatGPT, Google of the world isn't going to know what it is that you do.
Mhm.
Same thing with your service pages. If you don't actually list out design websites. I take brand photos. I do X, Y, and Z. If you don't actually list that stuff out, again, these tools aren't going to know what you do. But there's a difference between just doing your website for SEO and actually doing your website to convert people.
Yes.
So you need both. Here's what it is that I do, and here's the transformation and how I'm going to make you feel.
Mhm.
And I think that is the part where, especially if you're focused on SEO for your website, great. But you have to think one step further of like, how am I actually going to sell them to?
Yeah, as we were doing a little bit of writing and researching for this, I loved the saying features tell and transformation sells. So, really, your features explain the what. So, they're the specs, the deliverables, the processes, the things that you sell. The transformation explains the so what. So, they are the results, the feelings, the upgraded reality your customer gets. So, it's all about this is the thing that we do, and this is how we do it, process, steps, whatever, those deep deliverables that you're gonna get, but this is what it's gonna do for your business. So when we're done working with you, all of the process deliverable things that we did is going to make you a higher converting website, is going to make your brand stronger and more consistent, is gonna give your brand, a voice that it was lacking prior to working with us. It's really that transformation that sells because people can envision the end result of what
Mhm.
you do for them.
Yeah. So I love, like, this is what I always tell people is like, you don't want SEO, but you want to be found.
Yes.
Like, that hits home way more than saying, oh, like, yeah, I guess I need SEO because everyone's telling me I need it. I know that that's like, a marketing thing that I can do versus I want to be found by my dream audience. Like,
Mhm.
that hits at a whole different level. And I think we had this aha moment. I don't know, maybe like it probably is like almost 2 years ago now when we were looking at our investment page.
It's because we were at some sort of conference and they were
Mhm.
talking about the transformation. Like,
Yeah.
sure, your services need to tell exactly what you do from a process deliverable standpoint, but it also
Yeah.
needs to tell what they'll get afterwards, right? Like
Mhm.
how they'll feel after they work
Yeah.
with you on that package, whatever it
And
might be.
even like an investment page, which
Hmm.
feels very transactional, like, yes, that should detail out here's what every package includes. But we were missing the here's how you feel
Yeah.
when you're done.
Hmm.
And we added that into the investment guide page so that people, like, yeah, it's really good to see the details that's going to be included in the contract, but you're still in the selling phase. Like,
Yes.
we're not reviewing contracts right now. We're still hoping that you're going to buy into our services.
Hmm.
And with that, we want to focus on that feeling too.
Yeah, we'll share a screenshot example from our investment guide and what that looks like. So on the left hand side, it's the very it lists out the things that they're gonna expect process wise, those features. But on the right hand side, it's that transformation story. So it's a little mock up that says how you'll feel after. And with every service that we have on that investment guide, it's the transactional and the features that they get. So they can kind of see both right there.
All right, so leak three, a contact or an inquiry form that's going to create resistance instead of confidence. So the moment that someone reaches your contact page, they're saying they want to work with you and you do not want to lose them.
Hmm.
So there's so many mistakes you can make in this kind of space, or I don't even want to say like mistake,
I
just
think
things
it's
that
an
you
I
overlook.
think it's an like an underutilized page kind of.
Hmm.
Like I think people are like contact page. Okay, they just need to
Yeah,
somehow tell me they want to work
yeah.
with me and they don't put much more thought into it. Like give me your email address, give me what you need,
Mhm.
and that's it,
I
right?
actually this is something I bring up all the time in SEO audits because your contact page is actually one of your typically, when I look at people's Google Analytics to see what pages are top performers, contact page sits in the top 5 pages,
Mhm.
usually, if not like the first page for a lot of people or the second. So with that, that tells you that people are going from your homepage to your contact page pretty fast.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, is your contact page more than just a form? Like, are you actually communicating with them why they should reach out to you, giving them a little lead in, like, having a conversation with them?
Mhm.
So if you imagine sitting down with someone for coffee and they like want to work with you, are you just gonna like not say any words and just be like, here, put your number in my phone? Like,
Right, right.
you're likely going to ask them a few questions or like have a conversation with them before that. So, making sure that you have more than just a form is not only important for SEO because a lot of times Google tools and crawlers can't actually understand form context because a form is, embedded from a different website, maybe your CRM or maybe the form is just actually inputted from your website, but it's still not legible
Mhm.
to like crawlers. So, a little moment before and then within the form, you want to make sure that you don't have too many fields. You do want to ask what's important. And I think it's okay to have one fun moment. So
Mhm. Mhm.
we have a moment where we ask about their furry friends.
Yeah.
All the responses are funny.
They are so funny. Some people are like, gosh, what are some? Some are like, I don't have furry friends, but I
But
have 3 like
like,
feral children at
yeah.
home or something like that. It's so funny.
Someone told us about their porcupine the other
Yeah,
day.
it's insane. Like you
Yeah.
would just like kind of think like
Mm-hmm.
fish or cats, fish and dogs, but it's like
Yeah.
we get a plethora of different things.
Horses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's fun. So, and then also people like joking about their husband or their kids or whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
you see some really funny things. But that, and then you also see a few people be like, I don't get the question.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fine.
That's fine. Which maybe is that a red flag? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those are things where it's just like a connection moment. So
Mhm.
I think it's okay to have one of those, but don't have like 5 like,
Right. Right.
fun, playful things. Just include one.
Mhm. And I would say too, when it comes to your form, just like gather the top information that you need, right? Don't get so detailed and granular because that's where like an inquiry call or like a further discovery meetup or whatever it might be is where you can really get into those. Because if you expect somebody to, fill in a really robust form, you're going to lose them
Hmm.
because they don't want to do that within a form. They want to do that on a phone call with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we want the information. Like, yes, you want it. You need the bare minimum. So, like for us, we need to know someone's website,
Hmm.
especially for SEO, because I'm looking at that information before we even hop on a call with them. We need to know their business name. We need to know their name. We need to know their email so that we can contact them.
Hmm.
We like to ask that one question about who their furry friend is. And then we also like to ask a moment of just like, what are you struggling with most
Hmm.
right now?
Hmm.
Just
And some
so
people give us a one-liner and
Mhm.
some people give us 3
Novels.
paragraphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's up to them. Like
Yes.
it's they're required elements, but it's up to them on how much information they want to give us. And then from there, like we have moved into inquiry calls now being recorded so that we can now use that to summarize all the information we need before we give them our proposal. So this is something that like just creates that whole experience so that when you are selling to them, it's very natural. You understood them, you understood everything that they're asking.
Hmm. I think another important piece on this page is just explaining what happens after they submit the form. So we just have a little blurb on our website that says, "We can't wait to hear from you. Please expect a response within 1 to 2 business days. Need to chat with us sooner? Send us a DM on Instagram here." So it just allows them to, see and understand that it's being processed. This is when they can expect a reply from us. Do they need to reach out to us sooner and ask us something sooner? Absolutely. We're way quicker on Instagram if you just hit us up on Instagram and we can reply there. So it gives them reassurance that like the form is working, it went through, they're seen, they're heard, and regardless, you're going to hear from us in a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah. They get so our inquiry form, we talk about this in one of our episodes. I just had this up. I'm trying to think of what episode number it is. 206. Yes, 206. So we talk about our inquiry process,
Hmm.
and that's something where it's automated. So they are going to get that email, but we gut check the automation. So, like, we have a moment to make sure it's not spam because we don't, all those people who are like, would you like to be featured in our article? Pay us
Mm, yeah.
$2,000. I don't want them getting our scheduling link.
No,
No,
because
like,
you're gonna take valuable
so
time away from actual
yeah.
solid
So we
leads.
have to approve the workflow every
Hmm.
single time. So typically, we can do that pretty fast. But if
Yeah.
it comes in at 2 in the morning, we're not approving it.
Yeah.
So we do have one email that comes through that lets them know they will be getting something in 24 hours.
Hmm.
So that's like a nice little email they get no matter what. And then they receive the rest of our welcome flow right away. But
Hmm.
those are like, you have to create that connection right
Yeah,
away.
yeah, and typically there's a personal email in there somewhere because we just can't help ourselves. We're very
Hmm.
personable people,
Yeah.
but that is the process. So yeah, check out episode 206.
Hmm.
I believe Abby said to learn more about that. And then the last thing on this page, I think that is super important that a lot of people miss is including FAQs on this page. So any like general frequently asked question that you get about your services, do you have payment plans? What do timelines look like? Anything like that. This is not only super strong for an SEO perspective, but it just gives more information on this page that might answer questions before they even, excuse me, before they even, jump on an inquiry call with you. If they saw that we offer payment plans, then that might be a question that we've already answered on that page and they don't ask it on the inquiry call.
Yeah. Yeah. It can do some of that selling for you.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, the last thing that kind of kills conversion when it comes to your website is the brand inconsistency. So this can really lose trust.
Mhm.
So if your website doesn't match your other marketing channels, or even if the pages of your website drastically differ,
Mhm.
so maybe like for your blog post, for example, you haven't spent time making sure your blog post articulates the same branding as the rest of your website. Well, a lot of times the blog post is the first place people are finding you. And then they
Mhm.
go to your homepage and they have an entirely different experience. So making sure that that consistency is there and the vibe is there and that
Mhm.
feeling is there and you feel like you're on the same website through and through, regardless of what page you're going to, is super important because that's what really creates trust.
Yeah. If you have uncertainty within your brand, it creates uncertainty for your audience, and that can easily drive them away. So, fonts, colors, tone of voice, it's not even just visuals, it's your tone of voice. It's headline to headline from page to page and how you talk. If these things aren't consistent or they seem broken, that's going to seem kind of like an amateur move, or they're going to feel confused, they're going to feel uncertain, and you're going to lose that visitor pretty quickly.
Yeah. So before we give you this quick little 10-minute audit, just to recap, we're talking about your homepage needs to explain not only what you do, but why it matters. Your service page needs to do more than just lists of features. It needs to talk about the transformation, the feeling, how people are going to feel afterwards. Your contact and inquiry form process needs to be super smooth and create that like confidence first. It's that first connection, trust building moment. And your brand needs to be consistent visually and also in the tone. Like the
Mhm.
tone and the vibe, the consistency of the look and feel all needs to feel the same from page to page to page. And in addition to other marketing channels like Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever
Mhm.
that may be.
Mhm. So we have this thing, the cold stranger test. We kind of talked about strangers earlier, but it kind of, as business owners, we fall into this curse of knowledge, which we talked about a little bit earlier too, where we know too much about our business to be able to see it like a stranger. We're so familiar with that topic that we accidentally assume everybody else knows the same things that we do. So once you do this test, it's surprisingly hard to remember what it felt like to know what it was like in the first place, right? So, the first thing is the 5-second homepage test. And what you do is you cover your screen and then uncover it. And then ask yourself, what is the first thing that you read? And honestly, Abby and I haven't done this test yet either. So we should do it and come
Hmm.
back with the results. But cover your screen, uncover it. What's the first thing you read? Does it answer who is this for? What do they do? And why should I care? Because if it doesn't answer any of those, then it's confusing. Then,
Do it on your top like 5 traffic
yeah.
pages. Go to Google Analytics, see what your top pages are, and do that for your top few pages.
And if it's not answering those questions, then you should reevaluate your
Yeah.
headline structure.
Hmm.
What are those words that you are using on your page? Who are you trying to reach? What are you trying to solve? And then do the test again.
Yeah. And I would say the very like first thing you see is likely going to be the biggest thing, but and it's probably less about SEO and maybe more about feeling.
Hmm.
I don't know. You could kind of go back and forth. It kind of depends on your business,
It's
your
like a little bit of
industry.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can play around with like seeing what would make the biggest difference
Hmm.
because the whole point of that is do you want to keep reading or do you not care?
Right. Right. Because you want to keep them reading.
Yeah.
The other one that I really like is kind of like the brand walk. So reading your site like a first date. You guys all remember your first dates. So what impression does this site give in the first 30 seconds? First 30 seconds. What is your feeling? Does it make you want to swipe right? Or is it rejection vibes? Abby and I know nothing about Tinder. So,
Tinder's
so
probably not even the cool dating
it's
app
probably
anymore.
not, no. Does the voice sound like a real person? Or does it sound a little ChatGPT-ish? Does it sound a little AI? Because we're in the big shift of AI right now, and if somebody lands on your site and they're like, "Wow, a robot for sure wrote this,"
Mhm.
you're gonna lose them.
Especially if your audience is people that use ChatGPT.
Yes.
I will say if your audience is a bunch of people that typically don't use AI, then they probably wouldn't notice. But if your audience is business owners who also use AI, they are going to notice really fast. It
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing because I think there's appreciation behind AI saving time and
Right,
efficiencies
right.
and leading, like you can be very strategic with it,
Mhm.
but it should still feel like you,
Yes.
and you should still be like reviewing it,
Mhm.
because I think that's the difference between someone who just copy and like I can tell when I go to SEO pages, like from a research standpoint and a competitive research, I can tell right away when they copied the entire thing from ChatGPT
Mhm.
and pasted it on their
Mhm. She
website.
actually forwarded me an email the other day, and she's like, "This whole email is written by AI."
It's so clear. There's emojis before every single bullet point. It's like the this.
Oh,
Like
it
there's like always
always does the
threes.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
I mean, I hate that the M dash is one of like I love
Okay.
the M dash.
I
So
still don't
I
think we should get
use
rid of the M
no,
dash, but
I love the M dash. I
just
think
not
a
like
lot of people do.
1,000 times,
I know.
right? Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
So it's really like the brand portion of it is like you want to have a good impression visually on your website, but also that voice is super important. So if your site is lacking brand, is lacking visual, is lacking any sort of interest, maybe movement, if it's loading really slow, like all of these things are going to ding against you from a brand perspective. And if that voice isn't connecting with a human and bringing some sort of like emotion and experience to the table, and it's more just written by a robot and it's very, very clear, you're going to lose people.
hmm And then we want you to test your own inquiry process. So go through that process, like actually fill out your form. We were doing an SEO audit for a client, and for one of the form options, you couldn't choose a date. Like you physically couldn't choose a date. It wouldn't submit the form. And it was something where I was like, "Oh boy, like this is probably costing conversions because they were a wedding planner and it was forcing you to choose a date to work with them, but the dates weren't lining up. It just kept giving errors. Like it's like it wanted a very specific date or, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there's no like I tried like 4 times and then I was like, I would be done. Like I would just walk away. And so you probably like some people might not reach out to you. Some might reach out to you and tell you, but some people might not say anything. They just
Right.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
So test out your form. Can you type it in? Like type in the real answers, pretend you're a human trying to inquire.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, how long does it take? Is there any friction points?
Maybe
And then
have
what
some
happens?
yeah, have somebody in the business world that you're, like, really good friends with try
Mhm.
it, or
Yeah.
have a few of your friends try it and just be like, "Hey, can you give me honest feedback about my contact form? Was it easy? Was it hard? Could it use this? Could it use that?"
hmm
Just to kinda see what they think too, because again, sometimes we're in our own business so much that it's hard for us to see these things.
Especially if you have workflows attached to it, just make sure the workflows are working.
Yes, yes, double check all of that. And then the last thing, we kind of talked about this earlier, but the send it to a stranger test. So ask someone who doesn't know your business to spend 60 seconds on your site and tell them to tell you what they think. Ask them, like, what do you think I do? Again, I mean, if you do this with a real stranger, we definitely want to know. But just ask them, like, what do you think I do after looking at my website for 60 seconds? Because sometimes the answer is very humbling and incredibly useful
hmm
because they might see things that we just don't see because we're just too close to it.
Yeah. And I think most people are in some type of community, whether it be like a physical community
Yep.
or an online community that you pay for, any kind of membership. Start there. Like,
Mhm.
this is peer review, right? So send your website through, and maybe you want to attach a Google form, or maybe you just want to leave it completely open ended and just be like, hey, here's my website. Tell me your first impressions.
Mhm.
Leave it like that and see what people say. So sometimes that can just really open your eyes. And usually those online communities are going to be people in your wheelhouse. And not to mention, that's not the worst marketing thing to like get people to actually pay attention to your website
I
for
know.
a second.
Like, hey, look at me.
Maybe it'll actually send you a client, you know?
Yes. So we're gonna go into just like a few quick wins versus some real fixes that you can do to help prioritize some of the stuff that we talked about. So some DIY fixes that you can make this week, like literally no designer needed. You don't need me for this. The first one you might
We
need.
always need you,
Oh,
Courtney.
thank you. The first one you would maybe need Abby's brain a little bit because obviously we want to make sure things are SEO friendly and rich, but rewriting your homepage headline to answer who I help and what changes for them. So obviously you have to have a keyword rich headline, but it needs to be able to answer what it is that you do, be solution
Yeah.
like forward. we see so many people with like fun, emotional, which yes, they can still be emotional or they can still be some sort of a connection or even fun. But if you have a headline that's just all fun and quirky and has nothing to do with the services that you offer, the solutions that you can bring to your clients, A, Google is going to have no idea what you do. And B, they're going to be so confused. They're going to be like, okay, like you sound fun and all cool, but like, can you help me with this problem that I have?
And I get this question all the time when it comes to headlines. It's like for your main H1 headline, it should ideally be the biggest headline on your page,
Hmm.
typically the one you see first. And so a lot of times people want that to be playful and fun and brand voice driven and maybe not using a ton of keywords or they're subtle, not the best keywords, kind of things like that. That's okay. Then have a really strong H2 that
Hmm.
uses keywords. So, in a perfect world, your H1 would use a keyword. But again, we're talking about balancing this feeling approach and like driving, you want to drive traffic to your website. So, your SEO title, that blue clickable link on Google, is what I want you to be using as the really strong keyword driven thing. If it has to be an H2 headline, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, we have a whole episode all on headings or a blog post. I can't remember because we've done 200 of these. So
Yes.
we'll link it in the show notes. But an H2 is still great. So make sure that you're really looking at this from the eyes of, yep, I want to drive traffic, but I also want to really convert human beings,
Hmm.
not just robots.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then another thing is updating your service page to lead with outcomes, not just deliverables. So making sure that you're working with that, what was it, that functional versus transactional.
Hmm.
Like you need to have both of those because they want to see, sure, exactly everything that they might get, but they also want to know what is that outcome
Yeah.
after
Talk
working
about
with
the
you. Yeah.
transformation, the
Yeah.
feelings, the emotional pull.
Yes. And then some branding fixes that are worth doing properly, not half-assed, is making sure that all of your visuals, again, across pages, across platforms, are always consistent. Again, you don't want to patchwork this. You want to make sure that everything really does feel like one cohesive ecosystem, no matter if they're on your Instagram, your YouTube, your blog, your homepage. Everything needs to go together and feel like it works together. And just double checking that if your brand no longer represents who you are, a refresh is definitely worth the investment, like while you're continuing to grow in your business, right? Obviously, we want to always continue to drive traffic, but if you feel a disconnect with your own brand, that is a clear like red flag that you probably need some sort of a rebrand or a shift in your brand strategy. So not to just, put that to the side. Like I want people to take that very seriously because I think a lot of people are just like, oh, a brand is visuals. And you're like, it's not though. It's so much more. It's emotions, it's connections, it's excitement. It's keeping people around because they truly like you and your brand. So if you feel that disconnect, it's probably time to like consider a rebrand.
Yeah, and I think something too, like take a look at someone like Jenna Kutcher. How many times has she rebranded
Hmm.
in the past, I don't know, even 6 years?
Yeah.
A lot. Like I
Hmm.
think she wrote a whole blog post about this recently. But that's something where we jump on a call with a lot of people and they're scared. They are like,
So
I
scared.
love my logo, but I hate
Hmm.
everything else. And people tell me they like it. So I shouldn't change anything. And
And
it's like,
that's,
that's no, that's a sign
yeah.
that something is off. So I think that's just really important. And we have had that same talk in our own business before we rebranded a couple years ago, is everyone liked our brand, but we didn't.
Hmm.
And it didn't matter because you don't show up confidently unless you are standing behind your own brand too.
Yes, yes.
So,
I mean, we had so many people say, like, "Why are you rebranding?" And
mm,
there was a small part of me that was like,
I
"Why
don't
are
know.
we rebranding?" But we always came back to it didn't feel like us anymore.
Hmm.
We outgrew our brand. And even
Hmm.
though our previous brand was beautiful, Jenna Kutcher has had beautiful
Yeah.
brands. Every rebrand of hers has been beautiful. But she steps into a new era of her business
Yeah.
and her brand needs to follow that.
I'd
She
argue that a rebrand is a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
It gives you the reason to just full on promote yourself in an unapologetic way because you're
Yes.
so excited about your new brand and it helps people take notice.
Mhm.
So if you're feeling stale, if you're feeling like you are falling behind, a rebrand can actually kind of be a marketing strategy.
Mhm. Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people even the hesitant ones, like the hesitant ones that are like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I really love my logo, but nothing else." Or, "I don't know. I really do like my brand, but it maybe just doesn't quite feel like me anymore, but people love it."
Mhm.
And you talk them through it and you're kind of like, "Okay, but like if something is feeling off for you or whatever it might be, your confidence, like their confidence coming out of it is wild. It is
Mhm.
so fun to see." And typically the people that say, "I love my logo, I want to keep it," are the people that go the furthest
Yeah.
from where they started.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to see because we're
It's
like, "We
awesome.
told
I
you."
love telling people that on the inquiry call too. They're probably terrified, but it's like we see this again and
Mhm.
again and again. And we sit here and smile like, yep, we will show you an option that's close to home. And we know in our heads, you're not going
You're
to
not
pick
gonna
it.
go, "Nope, nope, they never do. They
No,
never do."
never. I don't think anyone ever has.
No, they haven't.
So prove us wrong, but
No,
don't
but don't.
because, yeah, we know. We know. That's where it's like if you are hiring a brand expert, trust them.
Yes.
Trust them to put their whole heart into it because if you are asking them to keep your logo, you're also asking them not to give you their
All of
best
them.
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is why we always tell people that we won't do a brand package that's like, you keep your logo, we'll update everything else
Yeah,
because we are always going to give you options that include everything, even if there is an option that keeps your logo similar.
exactly. Yes. Yes. So really kind of just to wrap this up, there's 3 takeaways from this. Takeaway 1, the good enough theory. So good enough really is kind of a slow leak. It's not a good place. You don't
Good
want to be
enough
there.
is not enough.
Good enough is not enough. Let's make t-shirts. Because
We've done
remember,
that before.
fail. Your website is always making an impression, right? It is always working for you. It's 24/7. Even when you aren't on and you're not working, your website is working. It's your salesperson that's 24/7. It needs to be working for you as hard as you're working behind the business.
Yeah.
Takeaway 2, the cold stranger test takes 10 minutes. Super quick, you guys. We all have 10 minutes, and you will probably be very shocked by what you find.
Mhm.
Because again, we are so close to what we do that we need somebody else to step in and kind of tell us what they think that we do and how we can fix it.
And the quickest way to do that is seriously tap into a community you're already a part of. Email them out, and just ask anyone to look at it within that community because if you're already engaging and you're already in it, that's the easiest way to just tap this off your list.
Mhm. And takeaway 3, just fixing these things before spending money or dollars in other places, like let's say like paid ads or whatever it might be. Obviously, we always want traffic, right? But if we're not getting the right traffic, or if we're like paying for ads and then all of a sudden we stop paying for ads and that organic traffic has tanked, or it's still coming but they're not converting, there is a problem there. And it is a handful of these things that we've talked about today on the
Mhm.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent branding, it's contact forms that don't convert, it's confusing pages, it's headlines that don't answer what you do and who you serve and the solution that you offer. So if these things aren't fixed, you're going to be sitting in this I don't even know what to call it. Just this spinning wheel
Yeah.
of like, sure, you're bringing traffic
You're
to your
just
page, but
barely
you're not.
scraping by,
Yeah, you're not
kind of.
converting, and there's a
Yeah.
reason why.
Yeah. So we get this question all the time of should I invest in my SEO or branding? And it really depends.
It's a
Like
hard one to
it
answer.
is. Well, sometimes it is, and sometimes
Yes,
it's easy.
sometimes it's very clear, but
Sometimes you go to a website and you're like, if I spent the effort and energy driving traffic to this website, no one would convert. I can tell you right now because your website is confusing, it's cluttered, there's no brand, there's no identity. And if that isn't there first, then what's the point in spending money in SEO?
mhm,
And then vice versa, if you have a decent brand and maybe maybe it's a good brand, it doesn't feel like you don't have the dollars yet to invest in branding because you're just like worried that you're not going to get the outcome. Sometimes
mhm,
people are like, okay, I'll invest in SEO because that has, the longevity of the foundation there.
right.
So I'll invest in SEO and then I'll come back in 6 months and invest in branding.
Yep,
That's fine. Like
mhm,
sometimes things tweak because your brand changes so drastically that your website ends up changing drastically. So there could be a little bit of rework there. I would say in a perfect world of someone who needs like a complete redo on
mhm,
everything because it's been too long and everything's off. You do brand,
yep,
you do SEO research, and in parallel with the brand.
Yes.
And then you build out that UX strategy and the website that supports the SEO world.
And those are
That's-
our favorite projects.
those are our favorite.
Literally, they light us up so much
Mhm.
because we get to help you rebrand, re-strategize, like think of everything in the business that you have, and we kind of get to rebuild it, right?
Yes.
And you have all of us experts, and we all get to work together. Like
Mhm.
sometimes we're siloed in our projects, but when it's a project like that, we all get to work together, and it is just so exciting to see the transformation from day one to the day that we launch. And I can say that all of our clients have just like loved the process and the transformation that it's had also.
So take a peek at your website with these nuggets. Bounce to the show notes if you need them. If you're listening to this while you're out in a gorgeous walk, hopefully it's a beautiful day. And yeah, just see if your website is just good enough.
It's time for a refill. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Duo on Air.
If you loved hanging out with us today, here are 3 quick ways to support the show. 1, subscribe so you never miss a new episode.
2, share this episode with a biz bestie and tag us on Instagram at duo.collective.
And 3, leave a review because we love hearing from you.
Finally, keep sharing your episode ideas. We love creating content for you. Head over to duocollective.com to catch up on all the latest episodes, brand and website makeovers, SEO tips, and so much more.
See you there. Let's duo this thing called business together.